Yo, yo, what is up? What is up, guys? Good morning. Good Saturday morning. We have some stuff to talk about. Good morning, good morning. I unmuted myself a little bit early, so I try not to cough in the mic, but apologies for that. But yeah, dude, good Fernando, Sai, good morning, guys. Fernando, yeah, bro. And Sai, Sai is always right. But I definitely have some thoughts on the Santana of it all. I'm very perplexed. I'm trying to give it a moment here before I really get into it. I to be fair, like yeah, they got us, right? They got us, surprise, swerve, whatever you were going for. Oh, here she goes again, getting on that damn box. But I'm really baffled at the thought process behind it and the immediate turnaround. The whole is Santana gonna show up of it all that shit. So we're gonna get into it. Let me move this around. First of all, Full Sail. There's I don't even want to say like there's security. Brandon, I don't know if you've ever been to Full Sail or any of the shows that they've done there, or that TNA and NXT do there. But first of all, the directions getting there are so fucking confusing. Like Full Sail is massive. There's like a lot of different entryways, a lot of different like parts of the building, obviously. But the address that it gives you takes you to the complete wrong side of the building. I don't know why she has to do shit whenever I sit down and try to start. But it takes you to the completely different side of the building. So when I went on Thursday, I've been there like one other time for a show, completely forgot. But the point of that is when Santana, kind of gonna be a little all over the place starting off, and then I'll get to the point. But when Santana on Turning Point made his heroic return and pulled up, it's funny because as I was walking in, before they had like that little area, they had like like some like little gates, whatever, up on it, but they had like this little spotlight. The spotlight wasn't on yet, and I was like, that's just like so random. Like, why would you have like a random spotlight there? Should have known, right? But it's literally right in front of the door. So like, he pulls up, and then he walked, he would have walked right in. There's like a little foyer, obviously. And then like you open the doors right there, and that's it. Like that's the opening right there of the building. And I was just like, wow, like I don't know. I felt kind of bad. There's this little kid sitting beside me who was like a big Santana fan. And we all during the match in the main event, they were kind of spacing out the fans in our area, and it looked like they were creating an opening from like these side doors for him to come in. So everyone was like, oh, like getting their flags ready and everything. But yeah, he did not. But Fernando, you actually made a couple good points here, Fernando. Where'd it go? So you said taking the TNA championship from Santana the way they did is like taking the WWE championship from Cody a week after finishing this story at Mania. And I think that's a very good comparison. I think that's pretty spot on because obviously on different levels, right? But when you think about it, that we were on the story and the journey of Santana, right? Like, God, I forget the first or the pay-per-view that was in New York. Was that I think that was Slammiversary. And it was pretty much like in my opinion, now that you mentioned that, Fernando, it's actually a even, even better point, because I feel like that was the whole WrestleMania 39 with Cody, right? Where were they, in California? Doesn't matter. But when Cody was facing Roman for the first time, that was that was what everyone was thinking, right? Like, that was the journey, that was the end point, that was the whole, it's gonna finish the story, the comeback, all that good shit. Fucking Brody Lee Jr. was there, Brandy was there, I'm pretty certain, in the front row. So it just all made sense, right? And you were prepped, primed, and ready for that feel good moment, right? And it didn't happen. And I was so pissed. I was just so deflated. I I Part of me still feels conflicted about that, because I'm very happy, like, he ended up winning at 40. I've got to be there selfishly for that. You know what I mean? So that was fun. But looking back, still, man, like, and I get, like, he was able to go on the journey for 40, and it was probably like a much bigger portion of the story at that point. So I get it. I'm not even necessarily saying they're wrong, and that's, a topic, a deep dive for a different or a different day, rather. But with this one, in the story of Santana, it's like you were saying, like, pretty similar. Like, it was built up. I'm pretty certain it was Slammiversary. Pretty certain his daughter was there too, right? Because she was crying and all that good shit when he lost. And it was just a really deflating moment. We're in this fucking block. It was a really deflating moment. And not in a good way, in my opinion. It just really, like, it made me like, what the fuck? Instead of like, oh, like, I gotta see him get it back. It was just like, whatever. And then obviously he ends up getting the big victory at Bound for Glory. And here we are, right? Like you said, like, here we are. The culmination is here. He finished his story at the big, pretty much like their WrestleMania of the year. It was a good vibe. It was a good setting. It looked great. All that good shit, right? Cool. That was the WrestleMania 40 portion of it, right? And now they take, what, a month off or so, which I saw some people were against. I'm not even necessarily against that. I thought it was actually a pretty solid idea, and it wasn't that long, right? I don't think that too much time passed to where it was like, like, things are going to die or the interest is going to fade or anything like that. So I'm actually here for it. I think WWE could, I mean, they're never going to, but I think they could take notice of that. I would still do the first week after WrestleMania, not even the first Raw after Mania. I would do, obviously, the Raw, NXT, and then SmackDown, like, fulfill that full week, because the excitement is still there, right? And then maybe, wouldn't it be a bad idea to take a month off and then start fresh, maybe, and depending on what date Mania would be, maybe starting fresh in June. But again, they're never going to do that, but I'm not even necessarily against that. So props to them for that, giving their talent time off, all that good stuff. But you come back, and I understand wanting to come back and come back with a bang, right? Come back and do something shocking, do something that no one is even thinking about, or like, oh, it's because, to be fair, right? Like, we all, when we were watching the beatdown happen from NXT, the NXT guys were like, oh, okay, you know what? Like, at first, and like, I felt bad because I couldn't see, I could see, but I couldn't make out all the guys who were in the ring. Like, I saw, like, Charlie Dempsey, Brooks Jensen was there, Lexus King was there. And if I couldn't see them all, right? And to be fair, like, I'm not that well versed in NXT. So there are a couple guys, like, I probably wouldn't know the name right off the bat, so that's on me. But we're like, okay, cool, like, this is setting up. It made sense because Ava was there, and obviously we're in Orlando, right? Like, it makes sense. The the part where everyone just really got like a bad feeling, obviously, when Frankie's music hit, right? And it's no shade on Kazarian, right? Because he, all that good stuff, right? Like, he put the time in, respect, all that good stuff. Like, it doesn't matter, in my opinion, and to me personally, it doesn't matter who it would have been, right? If it was Frankie, if it was Dolph, aka, Nick, he's Dolph Ziggler to me, man. Like, just like Edge's Edge, like, Dolph Ziggler is Dolph Ziggler to me. You know, like it's I don't even think of Dolph Ziggler as a shitty name anymore. It's just that's just Dolph, but it's Nick Nemeth. Um, but it doesn't matter if it was either one of them or whoever it was. It was just not. First of all, it wasn't the right setting. You know, as cool as I guess it should be being there to witness a quote unquote historic moment, right? Which again, it was. Um, I don't think it was the right setting. You know, like Full Sail's a small little building, like Full Sail, it's cool, and everything, but I'm gonna get to the fans here in a little bit because the fans last night were just so fucking just absurd. Um, but it's a small environment. You can hear a lot of people's conversations. It's just while I am not even necessarily a big fan of like the stadium shows, I'm kind of like a little bit in the middle. Like I think a good sweet spot for a wrestling show is between like 8,000 people because and I even think eight is I mean depending on the venue type, but I like a more intimate setting, right? Kind of like a the Hammerstein Ballroom, right? Like I think a setting and like that amount of people like that's a perfect setup and a perfect vibe, right? I mean, I'm obviously you're not going to get that everywhere, but that type of setup and that amount of people, I think is prime. And then when you have your big shows, like your WrestleManias, you should obviously go to the bigger venues. But I don't know. So to me, it wasn't necessarily just the size of it, but it wasn't. I feel like if you want to do something like that, like do it in the proper setting, right? First of all, second of all, and I don't know why that just it bothered me. I guess kind of looking back on it, like damn, like it did look a little, I don't know, whatever. But it is what it is. You have Santana come out there at the beginning of the show, get people hyped, have like a feel good moment, right? And have the point where he's pretty much setting his mission statement, going out there like he's going to be a defending champion. Like it's the culmination of his story, all that shit, right? Like pretty much what you would expect your babyface champion to do after winning the title, especially the first one, right? In a big moment. Cool, we're all pumped. We even kind of forgive the whole Ryan, Dolph Ziggler's brother. That's that main event, right? Like the whole really we're getting Santana and Ryan Nemeth in the main event. Okay. Because it's again their first show back, so you don't expect anything too major to their credit, right? With the whole surprise, because it's their like I said, their first show back, the setting of the table. You're going, and it was kind of weird too. Like it's your first show back, and then immediately the next night you're going into a pay per view. So I don't know, just kind of like weird timing. But so you do that, and I get why you maybe didn't want to set a full story, especially with what ended up happening. But cool, it's kind of like a one of those like holiday type feel shows, right? Shit, like even before Impact began their, I guess like pre-show, their main event type show, they had Ryan out there dressed up as a turkey. Like I forget who it was. Fuck, I forget who it was. Was it Leon Slater? There's a couple guys and like, a couple baby faces who like put like a turkey suit or whatever, like fucking, like fucking around with Ryan and making fun of him. So that's why people later on were chanting turkey and like gobbling at Ryan Nemeth in case, it came across because he had a turkey suit on. So yeah, that tells you how the tone was early on. But fine, like we're there for a good time, right? And we're just there because it's fun, right? And it's wrestling. It is what it is. But you expect Turning Point, your first shows back to set the scene and set the lay of the land going forward. And I guess it did, but just not in a good way. So carrying on, that fast forward to the main event, I think the NXT guys I don't even think we got I can't remember exactly if we ended up getting a finish in the main event or if the NXT guys interrupted and caused like a disqualification or something. But obviously they came out, started attacking everyone, beat down ensued. Frankie's music hits. Again, we're like, oh shit. And again, that bad feeling, bro. Like that just oh god. That sinking feeling set in. Comes out, And like, to be fair, they did like the kind of like the not the false finish, but the quick attack. Santana kicked out. She's like, okay. And I think I even said, I was like, oh, thank God, or some shit like that. I'm like, okay, like they're just gonna kind of make like a fake cash, or not a fake cash in, but a false cash in and have it be unsuccessful. Okay, cool. Like that, fine. Like that's entertaining, right? No. So the story was when the NXT guys, were beating down Santana, and I think they even beat down Ryan as well. They were targeting the arm of Santana. So when Frankie cashed in, that was the story that Santana couldn't hit his finishing move because of the injury to the arm. Frankie took advantage of that. I'm pretty certain he hit his finisher, but then I think Santana kicked out, and then Kazarian got him with a roll up. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, no. Like, as it's going, like, as the referee's counting, like, 1, 2, I'm like, no. No. And then the 3 comes, and I'm thinking, like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You've gotta be fucking kidding me. And that's why I recorded that little video. I was pissed, man. Like, and I didn't expect to be so upset about it because, like I've said, full disclosure, like you guys know, like I don't pretend to be the biggest diehard TNA fan or the know-it-all of the stories, or like their wrestlers or anything like that. I'm definitely more of a casual fan for their product, and that's why I was looking forward to Santana's journey, man. Like you said, Fernando, the story and going on like this, like part 2 with Santana, right? Like we did and are still doing with Cody. The journey after accomplishing and the title, right? And your main focal point as a wrestler, now seeing what you do with it. He didn't do shit with it. He did absolutely nothing with it. He came out, had a pretty decent promo, had a fluke match with Ryan Nemeth, and then lost to a roll up. Like, what the fuck? I understand why you want to have, again, like, I guess a swerve or like a shock thing, or get people talking, or get like a buzz going or whatever. But man, you take the title off of someone who we just went on this journey with for I don't even know how long. I don't even know how many months. He finally wins the big one, and you pull the trigger on I don't want to say a random, but like a random TNA Impact episode. Like after, I don't know, like after a beat, again, devil's advocate, yes, he just got beat down by all these guys. I don't want to say he went through a match because it was a match with Ryan Nemeth, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was just, I don't know. Like, it just, I don't get that, dude. Like, it's not even like he went through some grueling, long, hard fought match, this hardcore match or anything. It was fucking Ryan Nemeth, dude. Like, no disrespect, like dude's entertaining, like he, like he plays his role well, and every company needs a Ryan Nemeth, right? Like you need someone in that spot. So no shade against him, but it's like, bro, like come on, he didn't fucking go out there and just have a 25-30 minute match with AJ Styles or anything like that. Like, come on, dude, come on. So the fact that, and I don't even know, I had to go back and check to see like how long and length like the entire segment was. The beginning of the main event, including the beatdown to where he ended up losing the title. And then just seeing like everyone, like when the 3 count came and it set in with everyone was just so deflated. That's like pretty much the best word I can think of, is just deflated. Like people were like, this is bullshit, and just not the reaction that you would want. And again, I get the idea was maybe like, oh, get people pissed off and like start like a fan swell for Santana. Dude didn't need it. He already had it. Like it's just, they were trying to, I think, maybe create something that was already there, and or maybe amplify something that didn't need it. And now, so before I jump too far ahead, he loses. He's sitting in the ring, right? Agony, defeated, and everything. He makes his way to the end. He bows, heads to the back. I'm sitting there thinking, like, dude, is he, like, you never want someone to be injured, right? But I'm like, I hope something underlying is the reason for this, and not just, oh, they just wanted to pull a fast one, or they have like I I hope there's a reason why, right? And there were, I think, some rumors that he potentially will be going to WWE soon or whatever, and this is the beginning, like pretty much priming him for that. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because if this dude is in contract even throughout the end of this year, you could have kept the title on him throughout the end of this year. I highly doubt this dude's contract is up, what, in the next couple days? No. No. So miss me with that shit. Like, oh, like they're removing that so when his contract is up, like he's ready to go and there's no baggage holding him down or no, dude, no, fuck that. No. There's no unless if so okay. Benefit of the doubt. Let's say his contract is at the end of November, right? And December 1st, he's headed to NXT, officially going to be part of the WWE roster, all that good stuff. Cool. Whole another topic, right? Why would you then, this as a company, being TNA, this. It's not something that just came up. It's not something that came out of nowhere. You are literally the owner of his contract. You know the terms, you know the dates, right? So okay, hey, he's up, and this is all hypothetical, right? He is up November 30th, right? And December 1st, he's most likely going to go to NXT because you don't have a renewal signed or anything like that, okay? Why would you then put your title on him at Bound for Glory? If you know he's going to be leaving, and you're going to be taking, like, we'll call it a month off of TV after that. He's going to come back on, what was it, November 13th, and he's only going to have 2-ish weeks, 3-ish weeks, maybe, until his contract is up. So you take the title off of him night one? That makes no sense. So his reign was what? He wins the championship at your biggest night of the year. Everyone is off for a month. He comes back night one and loses? Like, what? Like, that makes no sense. So that's why I'm like, no. Miss me with that shit because it makes no sense. Seeing how it played out and then okay, so the direction and the whole theme of yesterday on Twitter, right, was no one has seen Santana at Full Sail. No one has heard from him at TNA. Like, pretty much he's like MIA type shit. People are like, oh, is this real? Which, cool, right? Like, maybe that was part of the idea. I'm sure it was, since that was the narrative that was put out there. Like, cool, let's hype this up, right? Let's have him lose the title, have him be pissed off. He has that temper to him, you know what I mean? Like, go with that vibe. But to me, it never made sense because just from what I know of Mike Santana and his character, and not like the wrestling character, but like the character seems like he has as a human being, I don't feel like he would be the type, and I could be completely wrong, right? I don't know this guy, right? But I don't feel like he's the type to just no show work, right? Especially with how hard he has been fighting since leaving his tag team, becoming a singles wrestler, and really embarking on his own journey. I didn't feel from the first, like, as I finished reading that first post, and, like, no one I heard from him, I'm just like, yeah, this is part of the story. To me, it just never fit with the dude who's Santana, the real life person who I'm assuming, right? And the character that we've seen on TV. Like, even being heartbroken, pissed off, all that stuff, I don't view the Santana that we see on TV as the type to just be like, fuck it. After one loss, granted, it was a fucking shitty loss and a slap in the face, I don't see him just being like, nah, fuck this place, unless there was real life, like, contract disputes or tension or like real life shit going on backstage. But excuse me, not just from, oh, they're taking the title off of me night one, this is bullshit, I'm out. You know what I mean? Are some people like that? Yes, which, fucking look at what are the girls' names? Fuck. Nixon Newell? Tegan Knox. What the fuck is her? Nixon Newell, I think is her whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about, who ended up walking out of AEW because they went in more than like 3 minutes or some shit. People do crazy shit, right? You know what I mean? Or make dumb decisions, but Santana just didn't seem like that dude to me. So from jump, I was just like, okay, this is where they're going with. But I thought about it, I'm like, okay, cool. You can really have fun with this, right? Again, I don't agree with it, but if you're gonna do it, fuck it. There is a Miller's Ale House right in front of Full Sail. Literally, like you pull into the area where, like, you know, it's kind of like a little, not a shopping center, but like where Full Sail is, and then there's like a business, like business buildings behind it, or like a business center behind it. Excuse me. But when you pull in, depending on again which area, but near the Full Sail Live, right there in front of it is the Miller's Ale House. You drive a little bit more, and then Full Sail is like right there. I'm 1,000 feet from it, maybe. So I'm like, dude, okay, you can like, and again, people may not, you know, may think this is crazy, but I've said multiple times, I have been a fan of the invasion angle. I want to do like a deep dive or kind of like go through that. Maybe you can do like a little series on it and kind of start from night one of the invasion angle and kind of, you know, go through good times. I think because I enjoyed it, right? Maybe do like an old watch along or some shit. But one of the moments that stood out and like I remember is when Vince was trying to get the old Stone Cold Steve Austin back, right? Like Steve was in this mindset where he was like happy, you know, and Vince wanted the old Stone Cold. Like he was trying to get Steve pissed off. You know, it was like it was just a great moment, right? And not gonna try to recreate it because do no justice, right? But it was a good segment where like Vince was like, "Damn it, I want the old Stone Cold," and then throughout Raw, you see Stone Cold in this random bar, right? Like he's sitting at the bar. Raw is on the TV. He's, you know, like hearing what's going on, and he's sitting there. You can tell like he's contemplating shit, and I think he even like moves over to a pool table. Yeah, because he has a pool stick, and he's sitting there like he's thinking, and he's just like he's thinking, and you can tell like at one point in his brain he just says fuck it, he slams and breaks the pool stick and just takes off, right? And then the next thing we see, like, you know, like there's like beat downs going on Raw, like both sides are just like beating the shit out of each other. You hear Stone Cold's music, all hell breaks loose, right? I was like, fuck it, do something like that, man. Like, have Santana, because they even, you know, like they didn't hype it that much throughout the show, but there was, I think, like 2 or 3 moments where they were like, you know, like no one served up Santana. Macklin talked about it in the back. So I'm like, dude, you can, okay, so have him be at Miller's Ale House, right? Like, it's not going to be that busy. You know what I mean? Do something like that. Like, you know, and you could have done it like earlier in the day. I don't know. Just have fun with it. But I guess they just wanted to go with like the whole mystery, is he going to be there? But it's not even a mystery because everyone knows he's going to be there. You know, like if it was truly one of those things where it was a real life situation, they would have thrown in another partner for Macklin. So I feel like I've been talking a lot for like what 20 minutes straight now. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break there. Hmm. What up, Winfrey? What up? What up? Oh, you have a ghost account? I was using a ghost account when I used to watch. Oh shit, you have a ghost account? Man. Like a burner account type shit? Ugh. So that was okay. So that was kind of like my thoughts like going into it. And then we get to the main event, right? We get to the main event. Macklin's out there doing his thing by himself. Whatever. We know at some point, I'm gonna say Cass. Santana's gonna show up. And then I already went through, you know, like he pulled up all that stuff. To me, I haven't obviously seen it, but to me, and I guess I'm talking shit about myself, but it wasn't that it wasn't that big of a reaction because we kind of expected it, right? It was just a matter of time. And it's no shade on Santana. It's just that type of story. It was such a quick turnaround too. Like you take the title off of him Thursday night. You try to build this whole hypothetical and this whole story, like, oh, is he gonna show up? Like, is he, won't he? Like, how mad is he? Like, what, you know, like kind of blurring the lines. He comes back the next night, and that's just it, right? So of course they end up winning the tag team match. I'm thinking, okay, we are going to get some type of development, right? Though, like, we're gonna get something. It's something's gonna happen, or maybe like Dolph. He's always gonna be Dolph to me. Is gonna call his shot, right? He's gonna like cash in his trophy, whatever. You know what I mean? The NXT guys come out. It's pretty much like a rerun, right? Of Thursday night. The NXT guys come out, beat down. Okay, whatever. Dolph kind of teases cashing in, but it's thwarted away. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. But that's it. That's it. And I don't know if you guys ended up seeing Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer came out towards the end of the beatdown and was kind of like, like, what the fuck, like trying to, like, calm everything down. Kaz had said something, and it was funny. At one point, Dolph was like, what kind of business are you guys running here? It's kind of funny. But that was it. So the NXT guys are beating down Mike Santana, your heavyweight champion, like beating down like your top guys. No one on the TNA side comes out. So we're sitting there waiting, right? Like, okay, like surely like the system, who I'm so done with the system, but okay, cool. Like the system, like you would expect them to come out, right? And at least be defenders of TNA or some shit. They don't come out. You have the Hardy Boys come out. Of all people, the Hardys come out and defend TNA. Who, yes, they, especially Jeff, well, both to their credit, but both have substantial amount of history with TNA, right? So it's not just like they just came in, right? And they're just solely going off of their legendary name. No, like they have substantial ties in history with TNA. So okay, fine. But correct me if I'm wrong, but when you think of the Hardy Boys, the first thing you think of is not TNA, right? Like you think of them being a WWE guys. Like it's just, and again, no shade. It just is what it is. Just like a lot of people who don't know shit about wrestling, when you say, oh, like I'm watching wrestling tonight, they're like, oh, are you going to watch WrestleMania? Like, no, motherfucker, it's Monday Night Raw. Like, it's not fucking WrestleMania, but everything to them is WrestleMania. Everything is WWF, or maybe they know WWE now. But no, like to them, they're still like, oh, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, like, like those people. Like, like, oh, you guys know. You guys know those people, right? I just forgot where I was going with that shit. Fucking went on a tangent. See, this is one of the downsides of not having like a co-host, I guess, because when you start talking shit and you go on like a little tangent, you forget where like your original point was or what you were saying before. You can't just ask them. And yes, you guys maybe are listening to me, but I can't hear you guys, you know what I mean? And it's so fucking frustrating because I'll be listening to podcasts at some points, and like the host will be like saying something, be like, oh, like, like, and they'll forget like a name, or they'll like, you're like, oh, I can't remember this, and I'm fucking yelling like, oh, it's this, but obviously talking to no one. But yeah, oh man, I really forget my point with that. I felt like I was going in a really strong direction there, but I'm a good cheer. That's a sign. I've learned when I forget what I was talking about, that's a sign for me to shut up. So yeah. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, yeah. And I feel bad, right? Because Kazarian, like, dude, like he had, God, like, talk about someone who like deserves a championship, especially like the TNA title. That dude, right? Like he's put in Oh my god, like how was he there from the very beginning? Like probably not like day one, but fucking early years of TNA, right? So I hate being so like upset about it because he ended up being the beneficiary out of it all. But like, fuck, dude, like no, it just wasn't a good idea. It was one of those where it's like people are like, okay, so like, what do you want to do tonight? And they're like, what if we did this? And you are kind of expecting someone to be like, yeah, we're but nah. You know what I mean? Like it's that person in your friend group where they want to jump off a bridge because it's not that high up in the water. You know, like you're jumping into the water, you'll be fine. And everyone's like, ah, it could be, like you want to be that friend. It's like, yeah, it could be fun, bro, but nah. Let's just go do dumb whatever, some other dumb shit. But let's not jump off the bridge. You know what I mean? Even if you can swim, like I know you can swim, dude. Why don't we walk down there and you can prove it to me that way? You know what I mean? Type shit. TNA didn't have that person. TNA let Santana jump off that bridge. You know what I mean? Not it was a Santana because I'm sure he didn't make up this decision, right? But we'll say Carlos. Right? President's name is Carlos Silva, I think. We'll blame him, right? Silva jumped off the bridge. He was like, "Why don't we jump off the bridge, guys?" There was no one that was like, "Nah, dude. Like, why don't you show me how fast you can swim? Like when we get down there, when we walk down there. You know what I mean? Or we can even race down there. But like, let's maybe not jump." People were just like, okay, I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, maybe it's not the best idea, but okay. Like, if you say you can swim, you say you can swim. Who am I to doubt you? Who am I to be like, no, don't jump and then swim. Like, let's get down there and then you can show off your freestyle and shit like that and your breaststroke. You know what I mean? No, these motherfuckers just let him jump off the bridge, and he went splat, belly flop. Belly flops fucking hurt, dude. And this shit stings. It stings. It stung in the moment. It felt even worse Friday night, last night, after the main event ended, after the whole beatdown angle ended, after the Hardy Boys came out and made the big save. And that was where I was getting. Excuse me. You have the Hardys come out and went through that history, right? And no one else. So you mean to tell me Thursday night we get an invasion from the TNA or from the NXT guys, right? They beat down your champion so bad who's the baby face, right? Like Santana's supposed to be. They had a picture of everyone celebrating him, right, and being so happy for him winning the title. It's a feel good moment, right? It's a big happy family, kumbaya, all this shit. These motherfuckers let him get beat down on Thursday night, right? Like, okay, fine. Probably weren't expecting it, right? Like touche. Like you're never expecting an invasion, right? Maybe you should be, but you never truly expect it, right? So okay, fine. You weren't expecting it for Thursday night, but Friday night coming around, you damn sure should be on alert. No, the only people who came out to help were the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys, right? Like not even the fucking system came out to help. What are you doing? So the beatdown happens, right? Okay, fine. And then Santana, um, I'm sure the show ended at this point. Santana gets on the mic. Matt says, pretty much just like thanks to the fans and everything. Santana gets on, and you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen the clip, but I recorded it. I posted it on there. So I'm not going to say it word for word, but I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to get an idea of the direction this is going in. Like he's going like we're going to get something, right? A new focal point for Santana. Maybe he's gonna, I don't know, something. We're just focusing on, he calls out NXT. He calls out the NXT guys who beat him down. And that's pretty much it. Like he's pissed off, which I would expect him to be. At the beginning, he says like, like he obviously didn't want to be here, which, or he said he didn't want to be here and someone was like, obviously, and he was like, kind of played up with that. But no vitriol, like anger towards Kazarian for taking advantage of the moment. And like you're not saying that he presents himself as being Mr. TNA, but like Frankie's been there, like I said, for decades now, right? Like, and you finally get your moment and you take the cheapest way out about it, like something, like just hammer into Kazarian about how much of a scumbag he is, how shitty the whole thing was, like just hammer into it. And he's just talking about the NXT dudes and about how he's going to defend TNA and the three letters of TNA. And I'm just like, really? Like, really? And I guess maybe it's playing into there's a NXT Gold Rush where TNA, Evolve, I think CMLL are all like like having like a big night or whatever. Um, but I'm like, is that what we're playing into? Like that's what we're building to? Like really? Like, and even if that's the case, we couldn't do that with him being the champion. Like you and I hate to, because I it's nothing against him personally, but like I heard, like part of Kazarian's interview, I think on Busted Open, was that, like TNA is going into like a big year, potentially getting streaming or not streaming, but like a TV deal, like a distribution deal. I think great potential, right? And I think, maybe a controversial point or take, I think they do have a real case to challenge for that number 2 spot. But then shit like this happens and like I'm like storyline and booking wise, and I'm just like, you took the excitement out of it. And again, maybe I'm being too hard on it. Maybe I need to let it play out. um but man, like I don't know, dude. Exactly what you said, Fernando. It's like having Cody win the big one and then taking it off of him the Monday night after. You know what I mean? It's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like why? And as a whole in wrestling, sometimes I'm just like, why do you make it so hard for yourself? Like why do you go against the grain? Why don't you just let something breathe? Like why not just take advantage of it? Like sometimes like they all talk about like, oh, like having the it factor and how hard it is to capture it and lightning in the bottle and like the next Rock, the next Cena, the next, not saying any of that was excuse me, gonna happen with Santana, right? But you don't know unless you let something organically build. And you had a couple missteps, but you course corrected. You finally put the title on him at the big one, and then you just pull the carpet right out from underneath of him. And then you have him go out there and still, and his main focus is defending TNA. Motherfucker, the last thing I would want to be doing is defending TNA because this company, and I get it, right? But even like this company, like, and I get it's the rules. I get it's the rules, right? But like in story, like I'd be mad at Santino too. Like you let these fuckers come in here, like NXT come in here, and then you still, and I get it's part of the rules, or there is no rules. That's part of the rules with the call your shot is there is no rules, right? So I get that. But you have NXT come in here and do all this fuck shit 2 nights in a row, and there's no repercussions. I don't know, man. If I'm Santana, the last thing I'm going to be doing is defending TNA. I want my fucking title back. That's how I'll defend TNA. I want my fucking title. The best way I can defend TNA is by being the heavyweight champion and being the guy for the company and being the guy who goes out there and does the busted open interviews, right? Who goes out there and does the media. That's it. That's it. And the fact that the first time we heard from him, he's just wanting to defend TNA. Maybe he's just a better person than me, and that's truly fine, and I can accept that. Maybe he just understands the meaning of life and being the better person, the bigger person, whatever, than I do, and that's very possible and very fair. um, because Ashley would be like, fuck you. Fuck that. I want my title back. And that is how I will defend the honor of TNA, by getting my championship back. That I should not have lost. I shouldn't have lost on night one. And you can use all of this like real life anger, like all this like real life like shit that I'm talking about, use that as the Santana wrestling character. You know what I mean? And use that as your fire to get the shit back. He just didn't, dude. Like he just didn't. And I think that's what bothered me the most, like thinking back on everything. Obviously in the moment, Thursday night was much worse, but I think just being flabbergasted after last night and seeing how the main event went and being like, you so then why okay, so if you are so pissed off at NXT, you're so pissed off and you want to defend NXT or you want to defend TNA, where were you all day? Why were you ignoring everyone's calls? Why was this such a mystery if you were going to be at the show? Why would you not show up to the show? If an opposing company comes in there, beats me down to the point where I am put in a situation where I end up losing my title because of how fucked up my arm is, and I want revenge, and that's what's fueling my fire, I'd be the first one at the building. I'd be the first one at the building. Be like, yo, Santino, where are these motherfuckers at? Obviously, we're in their home turf. Like they've got to be around here somewhere. You know, like they can't be that far. We're fucking like they literally filmed 15 minutes from here. You know, like they fuck with Full Sail all the time. Like their 18 wheelers are right outside. Like no, dude. Like no. Like I'm fucking camping out there. Like I don't know, man. So that's why I'm just like fuck. Every time I try to give like grace or a benefit of the doubt, it just doesn't make more. It just makes less and less sense. So, and again, not Santana the person, because I'm sure Santana the person, right, would not have wanted it to go this route and would have different input. But just going off of the story and the characters, what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Like you know, like what do they say? Like that's how the cookie crumbles. No matter how the cookie is crumbling, it's falling. It's like it's just crumbs. You can't make anything out of it. You can eat the crumbs, but I mean, like, that's not as good as the full cookie. You can't dunk crumbs. You know, like, that's disgusting. Crumbs just get in your milk and sit at the bottom of the cup. That's fucking disgusting. There's that. Yeah, Fernando. You said there's no reaction. They ruined everything. Like I said, dude, it was deflation. Deflation at its finest. But thank you all for joining me here. I appreciate it. It was quite the 2-night experience. Like I think Fernando, you said earlier, like you said Turning Point was trash. It was in comparison, Thursday was much better than Turning Point was. I was actually kind of like it was fine. Like the match of the night was probably Leon Slater and Rich Swann. Leon Slater is so dope, dude. And I got actually a cool little video of him and a cool picture of him. Just like with the light hitting him. It's actually pretty cool. But dude there's something about him, man. Like obviously people know that, but something about him. In these, excuse me, there's like this older couple who are just like the biggest fans of Leon Slater. And he hugged them on the way back. And on Thursday night, I forget the dude's name, the professor, like one of the hype guys, or whatever, you know, like in between matches, they like, you know, one of the questions he was like, so who, you know, if you could be any TNA wrestler, who would you be? And he asked the older gentleman, and he was like, oh, I'd be Leon Slater. And it was just not something you would expect this older dude to say. You know what I mean? It was very cool. And he was wearing like a Leon Slater shirt. Fast forward to last night, and the dude ended up being ringside, or right near the ramp. I guess the ramp. And after Leon's match, before he was heading to the back. Like he gave them a big old hug. It was just really cool. So I guess maybe they're diehard TNA fans. Maybe they've been around. Whatever. But it was just really cool. And I'm pretty certain, but after Leon's match, they had an interview with him, and the announcer or the interviewer was saying how everyone with TNA was supporting him and with him during a tough time because he had just lost his grandma. And I was like, oh no, like I had no idea. And I was like, no fucking way, dude. It was just very sad. And I guess like fucking like corrupted. But I was like, bro, I hope no one like comes out and like hits him from behind or like takes advantage of, like does something shitty, wrestling. But no, nothing happened. And it was just like, I don't want to say a feel good moment, but it was just one of those moments where like we got to know, like we got to connect with him a little bit more. And I don't want to say I think that's cool because it's a sad moment to be like connecting off of, but I appreciate that like they shared that, you know what I mean, and that he opened up with us, and because he's a long way from home, you know what I mean, like he's very young, so I'm sure it's very hard on him. So props to him. What up, Josh? What up, dude? He said Leon Slater is young with tremendous upside. WWE will pluck him sooner rather than later. 100%, dude. I see them getting Leon ASAP and a tag team with him and Javon Evans, which obviously they're already linked together and starting that, but for years to come in WWE for sure. Nah, Fernando, I've not been to any live Magic games yet, dude, but I definitely want to go. Did you see that Jacksonville apparently will be having the Jaguars will apparently be playing their games in Orlando soon at Camping World Stadium, which I think is very, very funny, and it's gonna suck traffic wise, but traffic already sucks down here. But yeah, guys, that I just wanted to get that shit off my chest an hour later, right? Man, I didn't see all of SmackDown. I ended up just watching the highlights from it, so I can't comment too much on it. I will say though that I like that this is probably a random takeaway. But I liked that Charlotte. I really like what they're doing with Charlotte, guys. And I know this is again a very strange takeaway, but I really like how they have allowed her character to open up a little bit more, and obviously, like the journey that she's been on with Alexa Bliss. I'm bummed that they're, essentially probably not gonna be teaming that much longer together because I really thought they had a good chemistry, and I think they still do. But I just think that there was more that they could have gotten out of that partnership, and I think they still can. I'm happy that it's ending without one of them turning on the other. But I liked that Charlotte was leery of teaming with Rhea, as odd as it is, because Rhea's. I guess they're both good guys right now, but like, you should trust the babyface, right? But I liked that they played up their history, and I liked that they played up the uncertainty of teaming together, and how Charlotte doesn't trust Rhea, where it should be, Rhea shouldn't trust Charlotte, but whatever, mutual disdain there, I guess, or uncertainty. But I liked that, excuse me, that, and I think it sets up a fun little, not like what if, but a fun little, excuse me, man, like mystery of who's going to be the final entrance, I guess you want to call it, or the final like partners on War Games. Let me pull it up really quick. I'm just still bummed Cena isn't in the War Games match, though. But officially, so far, we have CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, with one person still remaining, facing off against the Vision, of course, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre in an open spot there. The women's side, we have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and 2 open spots versus Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and the Kabuki Warriors, and another open spot there. I think it's next week? Or no, the 29th. That's right after Thanksgiving. Which, fuck, man, I'm so bummed about that because I have to work Black Friday, of course, with my part-time job, which is whatever. But I was bummed because I have to work that Saturday, 4 to 12, because obviously that's the busiest weekend of the year. And yeah, it just sucks because I'd rather be watching Survivor Series. And potentially doing a watch along with you guys, right? But not going to be able to for this one. But yeah, I am wondering what they're going to do with Cena, though, with Survivor Series, because, again, man, I was like, it's literally your last chance, so throw Cena in War Games and do something fun with it. I get why you probably would not want to, because with the possibility of Cena getting injured. But man, like, there's so many ways you could have protected him. It's a multi-man match. Like, it is what it is, though. I'm not gonna harp too much on that. But I am intrigued to see what they end up doing with Cena for Survivor Series, especially since we got the Dominic match this past week, which was just fantastic. Just fucking fantastic. I don't think John Cena necessarily needed to win the IC championship. I get why you want him to be the Grand Slam champion. Oh, makes sense, right? With your storied with the history that Cena has, right? And your storied past and all the championships and all these accomplishments you have, right? It would be not that people would be like, oh, he didn't win the IC championship, so is he really the GOAT? No, of course not. But it adds another check, for that box. And there's no boxes unchecked at this point for Cena. So I totally get that. I wish it would have happened maybe a little bit earlier on in his, last times now run. I do think, man, and once the whole run is over, we'll obviously break down and get into the journey of the last year and whether the heel turn really was as, I don't say detrimental, but counterproductive as it appears that it has been. It's just so crazy, right? Because, God, we'll definitely dive into that. But man, like, I wish we would have had more time to dive into Cena interacting with the younger guys, right? Which is the whole point of what we're doing going forward. I do like that he wants NXT to be spotlighted on his last night, so props to him for that. But with already having Dominic and Cena, that match, and fucking Dominic is the future, dude. Like, if there's any doubt, Monday on Raw confirmed it. From the second his music hit, seeing him, he did not look shaken up. He didn't smirk. He didn't. He was just perfect, dude. Like, the way he carried himself. No hesitation, no uncertainty, no, like, I would have smirked at one point. I would have, or maybe just cracked a smile, just been like, man, like, what moment am I in right now? You know what I mean? Dude was solid as a rock. Like, he was in game 100% of the time. Like, he went out there, held his own on the mic against John Cena, dude. He was standing in the ring with John Cena and Triple H, and he felt like he belonged. And it's so crazy because it's not like he's even necessarily a main eventer. He's not a main eventer right now. But seeing him in that spot and feeling that energy and just like feeling that presence of him being there and the visual and how unshaken he was, dude, 2 years-ish, Dom's going to be probably the face of WWE, man. I can feel it. And it's so fascinating too, because the history that he has, the connection that he has, but he's like the perfect age too. Like, he's right at that cusp where like the older-ish fans like appreciate and respect him and obviously have been along with the journey. But he's cool enough for the younger generation too. You know what I mean? Like he has that nice balance. I think it's just I never would have I had I had a feeling about him a couple years ago, but I never would have guessed in this short amount of time when he was fucking coming out there with Ray on his back that this dude would just feel so comfortable. And it feels like he's our guy in a weird way. Like it feels like we're on the journey with him, but it feels like he's already our dude, man. Like it feels like it's just a matter of time. It's like we're watching him cook, right? And we're just waiting for it to be right at that right temperature to just fucking let it go, man. And I'm excited for it. I'm happy and I feel lucky to kind of like be the age I am to have seen Lil Dom, right, interact with Eddie Guerrero, the custody of Dominic, you know, the ladder match, still one of my favorite matches, and just absurd storylines, right? Oh, but Eddie was just so perfect in it. But just seeing how all that played out, him with CM Punk, they've gotta revisit that. And I think Dominic was CM Punk's first match back at Madison Square Garden, but they've got to dive into that storyline at some point. So there's just so much you can do with Dominic, and I'm just so happy for him, because it doesn't feel like, yes, obviously his name and you know who his dad is opened the door for him, right? But it just really feels like this dude really just went in there and took ownership of it. It took him a couple years to learn, right? Because I mean, fuck, like it takes you a couple years, a few years to get good at what your job is, and then with the company too, it's right. Like why I've said a lot of times when people come in, no matter how long they've been on the indies, sometimes it's majority of the time maybe it's best to go through NXT because yes, you know how to wrestle, you know X, Y, and Z, but you need to learn the WWE system. So Dom was coming in probably being, you know, like probably like fooling around in the ring and probably having a good foundation or a basic foundation, but needed to learn the ins and the outs. And he just picked up on it, dude. So, and ironically enough, like it probably was like the best time, like for him to come in during the pandemic time frame, the Thunderdome and all that shit. Because he was able to learn without the pressure of really being in front of the fans like that to start off. So it's maybe the best of both worlds. But man, just 10 years from now, it's going to be fascinating to look back and to see and to think of where Dominic is at and like where he started from and to just watch the video package that, you know, that there's going to be like, man, can't even imagine. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to sit down and kind of talk some shit with you guys and get all that bullshit off my chest. We'll be wrapping up here relatively soon. Like I said, I just wanted to obviously Saturday morning come on here and shoot the shit, but get all that off of my chest and see what you guys had to think. Baron Corbin, get the fuck out of here. What up, Duran? What up? What up? I appreciate you popping in, man. Hope you're doing all right, man. Enjoy your day. Don't work too hard, dude. Do not work too hard. It's Saturday, my friend, but I get it because I'll be going into work later on. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you all so much for popping in. On that note, like I said, I have to go get some shit done myself. Sadly, be an adult, be productive. It's actually pretty nice weather out here today. It's been a little chilly out, but I need to take the dogs for a much longer walk than what we had this morning and go from there. But I was thinking about tomorrow's schedule. I don't think I'll have a chance to stream tomorrow. So, of course, next Saturday is always the game plan. If I can pop on before then, I definitely will. But I appreciate all you guys for popping in. Sai, appreciate you, man. Fernando, Josh, Duran, all you guys. I appreciate you for popping in live. I appreciate everyone on Twitter, Twitch, whether you're watching live or on replay, all that good stuff. If you don't mind, just give it a good old like and subscribe, all that good shit. It does help out a lot. Yeah, and like I said, I posted some clips from TNA if you are curious. Feel free feel free to check that out. Nothing crazy there. Just it is what it is. Just some clips from where I was at. But yeah, guys, until next time, again, I appreciate you all. Stay safe out there. Take care and enjoy some wrestling. Have a good day, guys.